Oh.
You're live.
You're live. So I'll turn it over to Tom for the introduction.
Okay, well, pretty much covered it. I contacted Michael and asked him to come and kind of give us an education about short leaf brewery. Because as all the club knows, as we started the process, we were looking between three breweries, and short leaf being a new one here in the community, and evidently had good beer. I didn't get to taste it, but anyway, the decision was made to work with short leaf, and so we're delighted to have them as a partner with us this year. And Michael, so that just to kind of give you that 1,000-foot look at what we do, the Sudsy Supper is our annual fundraising event, which each year the majority of the funds go to some not-for-profit or organization in the community. Generally, we try to find an organization that really focuses on helping young people. And so the first, this is our third annual, it's the fourth year, but it's our third annual, that little thing called COVID got in the way. And we had done the last two at Seven Springs Winery, additionally the golf course out here at Lake Valley. And so it's a new venue for us, and we've scaled it down to 120 people. That's our target, is 120. And so we're delighted to have Short Leaf as our partner from the brewery side, work with Joseph as our chef, and with Lake Valley. So tell us a little bit about your organization and how you got to Camdenton and what it's all about. So as we sell tickets, we've got a little background on Short Leaf.
Sure, thanks, Tom. Again, my name is Michael Crowell. I am one of the owners. It's a family business. My brother and I own an original location. We opened in 2019 in O'Fallon, Missouri. And this one we just opened up April 30th here, like 3 blocks away in Camdenton this year with my other brother, Matt. So my brother Jonathan and I own the one in O'Fallon, and then the one down here is owned by my brother Matt, John, and myself. So I brew the beer. I'm the guy that kind of was the knowledge person. I started home brewing about 10 years ago, but it's a full-time hobby. I actually am a full-time high school teacher. So I had meetings yesterday morning, and then I drove down here and cleaned a bunch of kegs and canned and stuff. And then today and tomorrow, I don't have to be at school. So I'm brewing 4 times in 2 days, and then I'll go back to meetings on Friday. I start school next Monday. So I get to go to school. I'm a high school Spanish teacher, so that's what I do. So then my brothers are also all full-time people. We own a business, but this is not what we do full-time. My brother John, he's a securities consultant. And then my brother Matt is one of the lead defense attorneys in Missouri. So we all are very passionate about the business and the products that we produce, but it is something of a hobby that has turned into a full-time business for us. So so we were approached by the Brewery Club. It was kind of, they walked in. Somebody reached out to me. I can't remember who it was, but it was sort of the day of. They asked if they could come in. I was like, "Well, I'm here. If you want to swing by?" And then we drank a bunch of beer. So I brought the 5 products that we are currently canning, and I believe the course is 4 course. I can't remember the menu off the top of my head, so I'm not going to go in particular order. But I just thought I'd bring all 5. We are working with the Missouri Eagle to get our product out there. So right now you'll find our beer on draft at a variety of spots: Redhead, Yacht Club, Stogies, Up 5, just to name a couple, Papos. And then cans are going out this week, so Heidi's supposed to be picking up a bunch of cans this week. And the cave, etc. I actually live in St. Louis. I live in St. Peters, Missouri, which I teach in Francis House School District. There was actually an opening in Camdenton in the middle of town. I don't have a home down here, so I was like, I don't know where it is. But anyway, so we've been producing these beers up in St. Louis, and we were working with another company because we were at capacity. We couldn't keep up. We have a small brewery in St. Louis. It's not a big one. If you haven't been to our location here, when you walk in, it looks like there's just the dining room. It doesn't look like there's a brewery there at all, but in the basement, were you all familiar with the Dogwood location? Okay, so in the basement is where they would take donations, and that's where all the fun stuff was when we bought the building. So there was a bunch of leftovers they left. So we had to find a home for all that stuff. But there's a basement to that building, and that's where the brewery is. So if you ever come by on the weekend, and then I'm down there, you're welcome to grab me, and I'll show you the space. Y'all are welcome to come out as a group if you'd like to see it before the dinner, too, if you'd like. I'm there pretty much every weekend. If not me, it's my brothers. So, but anyway, I'll just go over the products real quick, and then if you have any questions, I brought a couple glasses, some stickers. All these business cards have my name on it with contact. If you ever want to reach out for any other reason, they also get a free beer with the cards. So even if you don't want to talk to me, you can come by and have a beer. So I'll go in order of like popularity, just for the sake of my organization, my head. The first one here is called Bow Rider. A lot of people are calling it bow, but it's a bow. There's a chick on the boat. So it's an open bow boat that we purposely chose this name because it's a blood orange wheat. So the acronym makes sense. But if you don't know that, then this was originally just called blood orange wheat, and we decided that since we're at the lake as our primary brewing facility, we thought we should have more kind of lake haven beers. So this Bow Rider is our most popular beer. It outsells the next 5 combined. So this is sort of our flagship by accident. I make a wheat beer that's pretty neutral, not a lot of flavor going on, but that's the idea. And this beer really gravitates to fruit. Well, that's a typical wheat beer. They really pair well with fruit. So a lot of times you'll see, as you've seen probably at Blue Moon, they put an orange on it. You see lots of shandies out there, etc. This one here is a blood orange, so it's got like some citrus notes to it. It's still mild. It's not crazy. This is sort of like, if you're not into craft beer, this is a light bodied beer. It's really easy to drink. We've had Budweiser reps come into our place and like, wow, this is really drinkable. Yeah. So it's not heavy like a Blue Moon or a Shock Top is, but it's in the same ballpark. It's meant to be sort of a competitive to those brands. So this is called Bow Rider. It's our blood orange wheat. It's our most popular, and I believe this was this is one of the first beers on the menu. I can't remember, yeah. So that's Bow Rider. Our next most popular is it's called American Ale. So actually, it's not a lager, but we tell people it's a pseudo lager. It's kind of like a lager. It's the closest thing that we're going to make to a lager because we don't make lagers. We make ales only. But there's been some new development in yeast technology in the brewing world. This is using a Norwegian yeast strain that ferments very quickly and very clean. So you get the impression that it's a lager, even though it's technically an ale. So you've got 2 different types of yeast strains in here. I might be going too technical.
No.
So there's ale and there's lager. Ale ferments on top, and lager ferments at the bottom, and they ferment at different temperatures. So depending on how long you want to wait for a beer and how clean you want it to be perceived, you use maybe a lager yeast strain, so your Budweisers, your Bud Lights, all those types of domestics. I don't think you should call them domestics anymore. They're not domestics. They're all companies owned by 4 people. So we're a domestic technically. So all those domestics they're typically lagers, and they use lager strains. We use an ale strain called Oslo. It's from Norway. And so it ferments at 98 degrees. It's really hot, but it ferments out like in 2 or 3 days. So I can brew this and package it in like 5 days, which is incredible. That would be on the extreme end if I was like, I need beer. Typically it's about 10 days, but that's still significantly faster than most beers. So our house strain is the Quebec strain. I use that strain on almost all of our beers, except for like the wheat beer here or this sour right here. So most of our beers have a really neutral, malty herb palate, not crazy. When you go to craft breweries, a lot of times you're getting into a place and it's like it's heavy, there's lots of weird flavors going on. I like to have malt forward beers and not too heavy body because I like to drink more than 1 or 2. But this is a go-to for people that walk in and like, I like ultra, or like, I want a domestic. And I always tell them, I correct them that we're domestic. And then I tell them this is the closest thing they're going to get from us. I am working on some newer recipes that are lighter even than this one. But I don't like to get too far into that just because I like to emulate those companies because they're doing a very good job at producing the products that they have consistently. But we're craft brewery, so we have to have an image to keep. So there's that. This is our most popular IPA. So it can't be a craft brewery without having IPAs. It is the most popular style in craft breweries. So anybody that owns a brewery will tell you their most popular is probably their IPA. Ours are not the case. It's not that they're not good, it's just that people like the bow rider more. And we are more of a people pleaser in regards to the fact that our place is focused on helping people get into craft beer. That was sort of why I started brewing in the first place, because I wanted to emulate places that were producing products that were really approachable. So we produce approachable ales for people that aren't really into it, that maybe might be, but they just have gotten dinged by going to places that are, like my brother, the first craft brewer he ever had was from Boulevard. It was their Tank 7. And he, I don't know if you're familiar with this beer, but it's a big beer. It's like 9%. And we were at this bar in St. Louis called Boogaloo, and he drank like 2 or 3 and sitting there at the bar with me. These are going down great. And he got me and kind of stumbled because he didn't realize they were 9%, which is, 2 Bud Lights at once. So if you're, or Budweiser even. So if you're not into craft beer and you have an experience like that, it might like take you aback. Like, never mind, not into that. So our beers are approachable. They're really friendly. We have a lot of different beers in St. Louis. Our tap handles, we have 24. Here we have 16, and they're all different styles. So we have people come in and they'll order all 24 tasters to try every single one just to see what they like. That's what we encourage people to do. It's just try them. And if you don't like them, then bye. It's fine. We're not for you. That's okay. But this is like our beginner IPA. So I designed this around the idea that maybe a person's like not sure about IPAs, but they've heard about them. This one's super subtle. It's not heavy. It's the hops in it are really kind of citrusy, but they're not blow you up in the face hops. And I believe this was paired with a salad, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember.
I was looking for the medium, I can't find it.
And I saw it was attached in a stream of emails. So it wasn't like on its own. So I helped you look for it. So that IPA is called No Wake. Again, kind of lake themed. So No Wake, it's got the buoy here. Just sort of, again, playing on the idea that we're trying to be sort of the lakes option for craft beer, because there is the Lake of Ozarks Brewery, and then there's also the distillery, but their capacity is very small. Actually, that little brewery is brewing a homebrew system, which is fine, but it's really hard to ramp up a lot of production on a scale that size. So. We just canned this actually Saturday. This is called Kickback. This is a dude sitting in a rowboat, just chilling, enjoying himself. It's our brown ale. So a lot of people that aren't sure about dark beers, or maybe they're like, I don't know if I could get into that or not. This is one that is very approachable for people that maybe want to try a darker beer, but don't want to get like one that looks like a motor oil. Oh, hey, there's Thank you. So this one here is, okay, so let me just go backwards for a second. American Ales with duck breast taco. So it's our pseudo lager. It's going to be with the duck breast taco. There's not much flavor here. I would assume that that's the reason why they did that, is because it's going to hopefully just be something kind of wash the taco down.
The beer that I didn't drink.
I didn't bring Afternoon Delight, which is what they paired this salad with, so my apologies. We have another. That's our wheat ale. It's the same beer as this one, but it's got pineapple and lactose in it. So I may need to talk to somebody about adding an option, like it's an alternate option for people that can't have lactose. I don't know if that's a thing, but some people can't. So that beer has lactose in it to sweeten it up, so the pineapple really comes through. So the salad gets the Afternoon Delight, which I didn't bring, apologies. This here is going with the espresso pork tenderloin. So you'll get a full beer with that. And this one here, like I said, it's malty. It's got a lot of robust flavor, but it's not overwhelming. And I think it'll go well with barbecue. Right? And the No Wake was paired with the key lime tiramisu. Sorry. So they have, y'all seen the menu? Oh,
Yes.
okay, some of you have, so yeah, sorry. I don't know if I'm giving away any spoilers, sorry. So some of these are not going to be seen, but we're planning on bringing options for people to purchase if you'd like to try. We're going to be doing samples, but if you'd like to purchase 4 packs or whatever, you're welcome to. So some of these won't be on the menu, but some of them will be. And then the last one here, I don't like sours, and that's a huge thing right now in the craft brewery world is sours. And one of the things that it's doing is allowing people to get into craft beer from the wine perspective. So if you're a person that really likes wine or margaritas or stuff like that, but you don't really like beer, these types of beers are what's bringing those people into the craft beer world. So this beer, for example, is a sour beer. Basically, I make a beer that's good, and then I ruin it. So, actually, use a yeast strain here. The yeast actually makes it sour. It's a new development, new yeast strain. It's called the Philly Sour. So it comes from the Philadelphia area. And what it does is when you add the yeast to the beer, the yeast eats the sugar to create alcohol, but it also creates lactic acid. And lactic acid is what you get a lot of times in sour beers. There's different ways to make a beer sour. One way is to kettle sour it. So you put your wort into a pot and you throw bacteria in it and let it sit for 24 hours or 48 hours at a certain temperature, and that bacteria sours it. If you're familiar with how you make buttermilk, right? If you're making it like quick because you don't have the time to make it cool, you throw some vinegar and some milk, right? So kind of the same concept, but this was not made that way. Another way to make a sour beer is to take lactic acid or lactobacillus, which is a bacteria, and you throw it into a barrel and let it sit in a barrel for like a year. That takes a lot longer. And then the fastest way, in my opinion, is the best way, is the way I did it, which is just using a yeast strain that creates lactic acid, which is a new development in yeast production. So this one here actually added extra lactic acid to bring it down even further because I had key lime in this one, as well as pink Himalayan sea salt. So this one's got some saltiness to it. It's got some lime in it. It's meant to be like a margarita kind of in a glass, but not tequila. So, and this one,
What's it called?
this is called Mexicale. Yeah. So yeah, Mexicale, Maricale, these are two that we were kind of starting with last year as new brands. And then these other ones here are sort of flagship items. But any questions? We have way more beers than these. I just brought the ones we had in cans. So
Yeah, my daughter lives in DC. There's a lot of little craft breweries there. And the last time she visited, she brought me some beers from there. But they've got this one, I think it's called Unicorn Parks or something.
oh yeah.
So anyway, so it was a sparkling sour beer.
Yes.
They pour it out sparkling.
Yeah, so I've actually, I'm brewing it. So every year on the holidays, I try to do something different. So this last year I did an Irish stout for St. Patty's Day. This year I'm doing a golden ale. I'm going to be putting edible glitter in it. So it'll be gold. It'll shine. Yeah.
I want to know where you got the name shortly.
It is thank you. That's actually probably something I should have mentioned. Shortleaf is an indigenous pine to not just Missouri, but to southern states. It is the pine tree that the railroads were built off of. So all the timbers that you see around the country were all taken from shortleaf pine trees. They're pretty distinct. You know when you're looking at a pine tree that's the shortleaf because it looks like a toothbrush. It's this tall tree, and at the very top is the foliage. So it's really unique. But there's not a lot of them in Missouri anymore. Mostly in the Osage down south is where you're going to find it. You know when you're driving like into Georgia or in eastern Tennessee, and you're driving along and the roads just have these trees. If you know what I'm talking about, those are all shortleaf pines. They used to be everywhere, but they were over harvested for the purposes of the roads. But they're coming back. Yeah.
So, when are you all open for people to come and either taste or buy or tour the brewery?
Yeah, we're open Thursday through Sunday right now. I will say finding help has been really challenging for us. So we've been trying to be open, but as much as we can. We don't have food, so it's like right now BYOF, bring your own food. Our budget got eaten up. Our kitchen budget got eaten up last year because of all the shortages and shipping issues that were happening. So our tanks, they came from China, and they were instead of the shipping being $10,000, it ended up being $40,000.
Oh my God.
So that was our kitchen budget. But we are starting to build it out. We have a really solid food menu up in St. Louis and O'Fallon. If you ever find your way up there, our food menu in O'Fallon is very good. We're open every day up there.
So you hope at some point to have a kitchen and an eat-in?
Oh, we will. It's not a hope. It will happen. It's just it's more of a time thing for us. It's like I said, we do all the construction ourselves basically, where we can. And so the kitchen build out, we're going to start in 2 weeks ago. but it's really, we only have the weekends to work. So we do as much as we can, and then on top of me brewing.
So what are the hours on Thursday through Sunday?
Yeah, we're open Thursday and Friday 4 to 10, and then Saturday and Sunday we're open from 12 to, well, at least 7, but on Saturday night we're open till 11.
Okay, and then, can people get tours or is it just tasting?
It's mostly tasting, so the only time we actually let people into the brewery is when one of us is down there and we're not like super working busy.
Okay,
A lot of times I'll be down there actually working and trying to be focused, and our bartender will keep telling me, just go down there, it's fine. It's like, stop doing this. Please stop. I don't mind talking to people that I'm friendly, so like I don't mind doing it, but like I find myself just doing that all day instead of the job.
right,
So I'll be there. So I was there yesterday, for example, only because I had meetings in the morning, but normally I'm there until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night because of that. So we are working on, once we get everything done, then we'll have like set tour times, but that's sort of I think probably next season is when we'll start implementing that. I don't know what the winter's gonna look like for us, if we're gonna be open every those days, or if we just go down to 1 day a week or something like that. We don't know what the situation down here is like. From what I understand, what I've heard from people is that bars and restaurants that are not on the water actually do better in the off season.
that's correct.
So we're hoping if we get our kitchen open, maybe that'll help, us in the winter time. But this facility, even though we do like the taste room, we're proud of it. It's not necessarily the primary focus of that spot. The space was meant to produce product for our O'Fallon location, because we couldn't keep up. We were actually having to outsource enough beer to another company up in St. Louis, enough so that we were able to pay for this project down here. So that the amount that we're paying them, we're just paying ourselves now. Money's coming from here, yeah.
So do you have any products that are all your products wheat-based, or do you have products that are not?
Oh, yeah, so we have a lot of wheat beers because that's a popular style, but we have lots of beers that are not, that don't have wheat. So most of them are barley based though. Can't beer without grain. But we do have a seltzer that we make. That's pretty standard in these craft breweries these days. We've had a seltzer because people want a gluten-free option. So we make a seltzer, but I don't make it like 5%. I make it like 7%, because I figure why cheat the person that's drinking the seltzer too, But we don't do anything in it. It's plain, so there's no flavor at all. It's got a tiny bit of like a light Sauvignon Blanc or like cider taste because I use a champagne yeast in it. And that's what's interesting about lots of breweries that produce seltzers is that they'll use a yeast strain that's actually wort-based, so it's still got gluten in it. So I use like I said, champagne yeast, and so there's zero gluten in it. It's very good with a lime, just plain with a lime. But we actually also have purees that we put in it too, so it's kind of like Italian soda style. So if you walk into the tasting room, I think we've got cherry lime right now, so you could add cherry lime to it if you want. But we have a full bar here too, so we know people up in St. Louis we do too, just because we know people, maybe they don't like this stuff, but they have a friend that does and they drink a rum and Coke. We've got a pretty good bourbon selection here, we're working on it. In our St. Louis location, we have over 60 bourbons, so we're trying to just have options for people. Yeah. What is your alcohol? It depends on the beer, obviously. They range anywhere from 4.5% all the way up to 6.5%. So it just depends. So this one's 5.4%. The Bow Rider's 5.4%. This one actually is a misprint. It says it's 6.5, but actually this is out of the line here. This Mexicale is like 4%. So it's a Goza style, which is a German style, and they're usually lower alcohol, so you can drink. They're meant to be drank like in the summer when it's really hot. Like you need something refreshing. We are working on a cider line too. So I'm working with a local apple orchard up in Marthansville. So I got a good blend from them. I made a small batch, which actually today's Wednesday, so we're releasing it today to our Pint Club members, which we have over 265 members in our Pint Club up in St. Louis. They're getting to try it first and tell some feedback, and then I'm making a large batch of that. That orchard's called Happy Apples. Anybody ever heard of it? They produce all the apples for all the caramel apples, all the apples you see in St. Louis at the grocery stores. They have, and all the ciders that you can buy at the grocery stores, they're the ones that produce it. In fact, they probably are producing the apples and stuff for Hy-Vee down here in Dearborn and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, 2 questions. One, happy that you chose Camdenton, but I'm just wondering how you came to that.
So I am not really 100% familiar with the lake, but my brother Jonathan he's been living and working down here since like 2000. He's been a bartender. It's kind of like the connection to all the people that we know down here because all his friends stayed and run like Redhead Yacht Club. The guy that runs that, his name's Elmo. He runs all four of that companies, the Cove and that beach, that pool bar. That cave, so that guy runs all four of those locations, and my brother Jonathan were friends. They used to work at Shooters 21, and then he worked at Wobbly Boots and Dog Days. So we know a lot of the GMs and bar managers down here. So we even know our distributors, our salesperson for our distributor. He knows her from Jonathan is my brother. Yeah, he lives off KK. He has a condo off KK, but on the water. So that's how we have a connection down here. My dad used to love coming down here. I never found an affinity for it, but I never had the time to find that. So like I said, I teach Spanish, but that was required me to not be in the country necessarily all the time. So I travel every year to hone in on my craft. So I don't get to enjoy the lake ever, but I'm down here every weekend.
The second question was just the artwork. I wonder, is that in the family or?
Well, so we just to kind of some more backstory that's not relevant anymore, but I do tell people about it. So we were originally called Petrichor up in O'Fallon. So the company was called Petrichor, and Jonathan and I had my best friend from college. His name's Efrain. He's from Venezuela. We came together and formed that company. And we had my cousin, who's an artist out in Wyoming, do all the watercolors for it. So they used to be much more artsy looking. These are very pretty labels. I do like them. But this is actually a company called Public Art out of St. Charles. And they're a relatively new company, but they do pretty much all the artwork for all the breweries in O'Fallon, or in St. Charles County. So we actually were the first ones to work with them during COVID. We were never going to do this ever. But COVID forced our hand to come up with alternative means to get people products because we had a tasting room and a restaurant where you go in and eat and drink. It wasn't like down here. St. Charles made us shut down for like 2 weeks and we didn't know what to do. So we designed their first label with them, and that was the Blood Orange Wheat, which we kept some of the labels. So the Afternoon Delight, which you'll see at the dinner, has a watercolor still. We kept some of the labels from my cousin who did the artwork. But my sister-in-law is an art teacher, and if you come to the brewery, she did the little happy trees atop the wood wall. There's like a bunch of trees painted on the wall. She did that. Any logo work inside the building that's like looks like it's maybe a vinyl. It's actually she painted it by hand, and she did all the wood burning of our tap handles. So. You'll see those out and about right now, but we're working to get rid of them and replace them with something that's a little more easily readable. They're really pretty looking if you can see them up close, but like I went to Redhead and I was sitting at the end and I could see all the tap handles, and ours was kind of dark and just couldn't tell what it was. People are like, what is that one? So it's nice that she did that, but it's not going to work.
So how's this going to work at the Sudsy Supper? You just gonna give out a sample?
No, you're going to get over here.
For every course?
Yep.
We have any designated drivers?
You don't have to do that. I mean, what we can do is
That's only 4 beers.
well, and you're eating too. It's not like you're drinking it without substance, you know. So if you want to share, you can. I think this is a personal opinion. I think the easiest solution is to have how many tables you've got. You can just put a bucket on the table with ice and the cans in it, and then if y'all want to open one and share it, then you can. Or if you want to be like, this is delicious, and you drink the whole thing, and then you drink somebody else's, whatever, right? So if each table has 6 people at it, I'll just put 6 beers in buckets. I think that would be the easiest thing. That way.
So keep your hands off the bucket all night.
It's not as classy, right? I was thinking we'd pour them and then I'd talk about them, just in pairing with the food. But if
We can have a can.
that's it.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do that.
You know.
But to your point, maybe you don't really necessarily want the whole thing, and that would be a waste. So we can do that instead, and that makes more sense if people can pour it as much as they want. Yeah, I've never been to your dinner, so you all are the ones that know the logistics of what makes the most sense.
Well, we will want you to give us a little before each course
Yeah,
a short rundown on.
yeah. If it's not me, it'll be one of my brothers. And Jonathan and Matthew both are knowledgeable, to speak to them.
So should, little sidebar here, should we kind of talk, figure out whether we want to do the cans or whether we want to do?
I think being at the Pulse Works, we can go a little more tactical. So I love the idea of the bucket and maybe one of your 4-packs or maybe have little 4-pack carriers.
Yeah.
At the brewery, like we just lay one of those by the bucket, so we're verbally telling people, hey, you can take some home and not drink all.
Yeah, whatever's, I mean, we're gonna be bringing X number of cases per course. So it sounds like 120 is the goal. That's only 5 cases. I say only. That's a lot, but it's about a keg. Yeah, a half barrel keg. So we can bring draft, it's just then you gotta pour 120 beers.
Right, no, I agree, I like the can thing, I mean, I'll drink half and I will drink 1.5.
I do plan on bringing, well, the hope is to bring like a surprise beer. We'll see if it's ready. If it's not, then it's a surprise if you don't get it, but. But the hope is to bring something like an extra, so.
If it's not ready, it'll be one of your brothers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. I never said that. You're talking about.
2 questions. One, you mentioned cans, and I don't remember what you said, what you do with them, but our church has a cans for charity recycling program, where we gather cans, cash pocket, and give the money to charities. Do you all recycle your cans?
So we don't typically have people consuming these on site. These are purely for to go. The only time people consume any of these on site is when we run out, and I'm like, I'll just sell the can. So when we can, the actual product, there is a lot of waste because the machine has to be calibrated. Sometimes, like when I was canning this, it was destroying every 4th can. So we'd fill it up with beer, and then the machine would destroy the cans. I'm still learning the machine. That's my excuse. So anyway, I have 3 tubs of empty cans sitting outside, out back of the building.
Do you recycle them?
Well, that was my plan, but I'm not.
He's asking for a reason.
If you came by and saw those bins of cans and they disappeared, I wouldn't care.
My other question, once we have so many, and a lot of people come and they want to try all different kinds, when you're open, do you have a sheriff's car sitting out and you're driving around?
I've noticed, I just met Cody from the Baptist Church. He's the pastor right across the street. I've noticed he allows, well, hell, he allows it, but there's always cops sitting over there. But no, before we opened, the sheriff came by and he was checking to make sure we had enough parking spots. And I said, of course we've got plenty of parking spots.
You notice the judge is leaving, she didn't want to.